Well, good evening and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. I am your host, Reverend Edward N. Mason Jr. We will be joined today by our co-host, Dr. Joseph L. Davis Sr. And so we want to talk about our subject today is let's hit the pause button. As we know, much have happened this week. Especially the verdict that had come down about the police officer that had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. And many people were shocked that he was found guilty on all three charges. Incidentally, on that same day, there was another shooting in Minneapolis, where a young man lost his life. And then there's been another shooting in Ohio, where a young lady has lost her life. I think it's important for us to understand, as we have continued to talk about on this show, that we must be vigilant. We must be aware of our surroundings. We must be aware of what's going on. We must also engage each other, as well as our officials who have the authority of passing and instituting laws. Maryland is one of the states that have repealed the police rights that they have qualified immunity. And there's only, I think, 2 or 3 other states that have taken up that charge. And certainly they are pushing in the House. Well, House has already passed it, but in the Senate, they are pushing the George Floyd police reform bill. But we must be mindful that what we are seeing today it's sad. It's sad, and it's also frightening. It's sad because we're in this yet to be the United States of America, where all people are not considered equal. Those who are brown skin and skin color or ethnicities that are not of Eurocentric folk have been disproportionately treated unfairly. And then we, not only are we treated unfairly, but we do not get the same type of legal counsel. We do not get the same type of representation in the system. In fact, in many cases, they don't even take us seriously. Even in the George Floyd case, we saw where they did everything they could to try to dehumanize him and to bring up things about his past that was not relevant to the situation at hand. And so, yes, although we received a guilty verdict on all 3 charges, and many folk are celebrating and excited in and around the world, not just around the country, but in around the world. There's still much work to do. And so if you're joining us by way of YouTube, we want to say thank you. Continue to share and hit that like button and send us your comments. We would like to hear from you today, your comments. And then if you're watching and viewing us by way of Facebook, certainly we encourage you to share, hit the comments, and like our page. Well, all of this has happened, and yet there is still much to do. Stick around. We're going to dig into it. We're going to talk about it and see what we can find. Let's go. Well, welcome to another edition of our live stream show. Let's talk about it, where we are excited about what's going on and to be with you on this evening. Let me bring in my co-host, Dr. Joseph Davis. Dr. Davis, welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It.
Thank you for having me, sir. It's good to be back with you again and with your listening audiences. And once again, there's a lot that we need to talk about it because I just don't think it's over with simply because of one man being convicted. I still think we have a long way to go. But once again, I'm hopeful, I'm prayerful that the Lord will continue to try to intervene. Hopefully, the Lord will intervene to help us get back on track. Because, like I said, we have a long way to go yet, and I still believe that as the segment of tonight is, let's hit the pause button because I know people are celebrating, people are excited because of what has happened, but let's not get excited yet. Because I still say we have a long way to go.
Well, certainly, Dr. Davis, as you stated, folk all around the world are dancing in the streets, are celebrating what they are considering a major achievement. And as some have said, that we finally have received justice. I would like to say that although I am relieved and happy that that a verdict came down, I am not quite convinced that justice was served. And the reason that I say that is because a man lost his life. A man lost his life. And then I want to also bring up something that most people are not thinking of or aware of. And that is the family members of the police officer that have to deal with the backlash, the shame. We are not sensitive, and I know there are some people that's not going to agree with me about this. However, but we must remember his family members in many cases, or family members of persons who have done things or been convicted, those family members had nothing to do with what that individual did. And they have to deal with the backlash. They have to deal with the scrutiny. They have to deal with the challenges that come along with that because that person was a family member of theirs. And many times they are treated unfairly because of what their loved one or their family member did. And so I think we ought to be mindful about those things, although he is he's getting the judgment that was issued to him. There are still other parts. The family members of George Floyd, his daughter, his brothers, his sisters, they are being challenged. And they will not be able to see him again. All they have left is memories and pictures and videos, but they do not have their brother physically with them any longer. What's your take on that, Dr. Davis?
Well, I agree with you that it's a touchy situation due to the fact that the family you talking about the family of George Floyd?
Yes, as well as the family of Officer Chavez, as well as his
Right.
family.
But
Both families are dealing with situations that are different in scope. However, both families have a traumatic situation that they have to deal with.
well, that's why I say it's a sticky situation. I was saying on both ends. I was just trying to make sure, get some clarity that you were talking about both and not just one. But as I said, it is a sticky situation on both ends, due to the fact that George Floyd family will never see their loved one again, and what have you. On the other hand, Chavez, his family can go to the prison and see him, but at the same time, they'll be ostracized and criticized because of what um, Derek Chauvin did and everything. And then you got young people. I think you mentioned his children. And once again, they have to go to school, and people might look at them. Then the other thing is racism is still prevalent in the land. So you don't know who's going to reach out to his children to convince them to come on over, because once again, his father or their father has been wrongly treated, or whatever. Being a police officer, he should have every right to do his duty within the law. But I'm just saying it's a sticky wicky situation due to the fact that both families are going to suffer. Both families are going to deal with some trauma in their lives that might cause to be hurt and offended by what has taken place.
Well, that's something that we have to look at, and as persons of the Christian faith, as much as many folk do not want to do it, we have to pray for those. The Bible says, for those who despitefully use us.
Yes.
We have to pray for our enemies. Not to the point where that they're not held accountable.
Right.
Accountability is something that has to happen. But we have to realize that they're still human, and when we do wrong, all the wrong that we do or persons have done, it was not mistakes. Many of those things were done intentionally.
That's right.
They knew what they were doing.
That's right.
However, if forgiveness is offered or requested, the Bible declares that we are to forgive. And I know that's a bitter pill. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, and I know that many people have lost family members to not just regular sickness and disease, but even myself. I've lost a brother who was murdered in Baltimore City a few years ago, right on Ricestown Road, just a couple blocks from Mondawmin Mall. So I know what it's like, and the good thing is his wife was with him, and when guys came up to do the shooting, he pushed her to the side, and so she wasn't killed as well. So I understand. There is a sense of bitterness. There is a sense of uneasiness. There is certainly dislike for situations that have happened, and these are the times that we have to reach down within us and grab hold of that God that we love and that we talk about. When times are good, it's easy to talk about God and how much he loves us and how much we love him, Dr. Davis, when things are going well.
That's right.
But when we find ourselves in situations where it's not going so well, we don't want to talk about the loving. We don't want to talk about that.
Right. Yeah, it's difficult to talk about it, but sometimes you have to think about it to help deal with the reality of life. Because once again, no matter how you slice it and dice it, um, reality is, hey, it is what it is, and you have to deal with it one way or the other. So, um, it's a hurting thing, but reality is you got to deal with it because um, it's just part of life.
Well, the other thing is, I want to at least raise the question, or at least to our consciousness, that although the verdict came down this time in what we consider to be our favor, we still have a long way to go, like you said. We still have other cases that are being tried. In fact, even in this case, there are still 3 other officers that will be in court, and they are being charged with aiding and abetting and other charges as it relates to Floyd's murder. Now, I am not sure how they are thinking, but it just seems like to me that their attorneys might be trying to talk to the state's attorney's office to find out what kind of plea deal they can probably try to get. Because if Floyd, if Chavez was convicted on all 3 charges, it's very likely that they could be convicted as well. But what I want us to remember is, if we get caught up in that verdict, then the next verdict may not come down in our favor. Sometimes
Well,
you get 1, but then you may lose 5.
right, right. And just a few blocks away, I think a boy named was Wright, Dante Wright.
Yes,
He was shot. He was killed.
yes,
And then I'm sorry.
they had his funeral today.
Right. Okay. And so his trial got to come, and I understand that the lady that shot him thought it was a taser or something, and instead of shooting him with the taser, she shot him with the gun, and they were showing the difference in the taser and the gun, which to me, I don't know how you can grab one and think it's something else. But anyway, that trial has to come to pass, I guess, next year, I guess, when they put that on trial. Then there was a 13-year-old boy, I think, that was shot. Correct me if I'm wrong. He had his hands up. He dropped whatever weapon he had, and they shot him in the chest.
Yes, it seems as if, and I understand that there are split-second decisions that have to be made. Then you have the other young lady that was shot, that was wielding the knife. Yesterday, I believe it was. Yesterday or day before, was wielding a knife, and police shot her 4 times and killed her. Did you hear about that?
No, sir.
I think she was 17 years old, 16 or 17 years old. She was wielding a knife. Police was called, and when police got there, she was lunging at one girl, and then she went to stab another girl, and that's when the police shot and killed her. Of course, there is a big controversy over that. The question is, did he have to use deadly force to stop her, or could something else had been done? So that's another situation. I think that one was in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
That one was in Ohio. So you've got the young man, Dante Wright. He was shot by the female police officer that you talked about.
Yeah.
Incidentally, this officer was a 26-year veteran, and also, just like Chavez, was one of the trainers. She had a training officer with her when this happened. So it really shakes the mind. If she is a veteran and is training other officers, new officers, then how is it? Certainly, when she drew her weapon, the color is different. A taser is yellow. A taser does not weigh the same. The taser was on the opposite side of her. So when she drew her weapon and went to look down the scope, the sight, she should have saw that it was not yellow. But I think we need to back up a minute. Why is it that weapons are being drawn on traffic stops?
And right, and that's another thing I don't understand.
I mean, traffic stops, do they really require a weapon? Do they really? I mean, even this young man, Dante Wright, he was fleeing. Yes, he got away, got loose from him, and got in the vehicle and took off. And her recklessness, because there was another officer on the other side of the car that was trying to deal with him as well, she could have very easily shot the other officer.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm like I said, I'm just stunned that they do a traffic stop and you pull your weapon out. Now, if I'm understanding correctly, was this the young man that had something hanging from his mirror?
Yes, he had a air freshener
And they stopped him
hanging from his rearview mirror, and supposedly his tags were expired.
So that causes them to take out the weapon and shoot a man because the tags expired and the odorizer was hanging from the window.
Well,
and it's blowing my mind.
And then, from my understanding, the police department, supposedly had issued a memo to the officers saying to not stop vehicles for expired tags because motor vehicle had been closed because of the pandemic situation. And there were a lot of people who did not have their tags renewed because motor vehicle was closed. And so there was a memo that was issued to the officers to not stop vehicles just because their tags was expired. Now, if they were doing something that was illegal and all that kind of stuff, then certainly they had the right to stop them. But from my understanding, just to stop a vehicle because their tags was expired was supposedly not within lines. Dr. Davis, let me ask this question. Are you aware of any Jews that have been stopped and killed?
Am I aware of any who?
Any Jews?
No, sir.
Are you aware of any Italians?
No, sir.
The reason that I asked that question is because these other groups of people do not get the same treatment that
Right.
Americans get. And one of the reasons is because you let them do something to a Jewish person and see what happens.
Right.
They talking about an uprising. You haven't seen no uprising until the Jew folk, because not only are they going to demonstrate, but they are going to hit the cities and states economically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
They don't fool with the Italians because they know that they have a different code that they operate under. The mafia still exists.
Yeah, that's right.
It still exists. It's not. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Right.
And so we as African Americans, yes, we demonstrate. But then here's what happened. We demonstrate. We tear up property. And the property that we tear up is in our own community.
Yes, sir.
The
people that's trying to help you.
We burn down buildings, we break windows, we create problems, and then when everything's over, we complain because we got to go twice as far to go to the market or to go to the store because we burned down what was close by in our own communities.
Yeah, that's
I don't
right.
have a problem with demonstration, and I think demonstration is all within order. However, I think that we need to demonstrate in a manner that is appropriate. Destruction of property is against the law. Period.
Yes.
It doesn't give you carte blanche to be destructive just because you want to voice your concerns or you want to share your opinion. And then we know for a fact that there are instigators that come in from out of state to participate.
Yeah.
To help further the cause, but to create problems.
Problems, yeah. That's what they do.
Create problems. I mean, isn't that what the young man did last year? That went and shot and killed, shot some people. And he came from out of state.
Yeah.
AR-15.
Yeah.
And the police and all just rode by him, waved at him. One time they gave him some water. Never stopped. Yeah. He walked down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And they never stopped him. But had it been an African American,
yeah,
that wouldn't have happened. He probably would have lost his life.
Yeah, that's right. Especially walking down the middle of the street with an AK-47 rifle, they would have took him out immediately.
All I'm saying is, we can't get excited. And yeah, we ought to. I don't know if the correct term is to celebrate our victory. I'm saying we ought to be aware and acknowledge the victory. But we are too far in the hole for celebrations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got too many cases pending for us to be
celebrating. Yes, sir. And you're right. So you won this battle, but you still have the war to win.
And that is not going to be easy. Especially
yes,
if you have individuals on Capitol Hill that are of no mindset to do what's right.
Right. That's right.
We had all the massive school shootings. I think it was just a few weeks ago they were saying that we had over 45 mass shootings in 30 days around this country. And they
Yep.
classify mass shootings as 4 people or more that were killed. 45 mass shootings in 30 days
Yep.
around this country.
Now, how do they get the guns? This is the other question.
Who
Because
gets that?
the people that does the mass shooting,
Well,
how do they get these guns?
well, they go buy. Some of them buy them legally. That's why in certain states they have put laws in where you can't buy guns from gun shows.
Right.
To buy a gun in most states, you have to go through a period of waiting. You have to
Right.
get a background check and all of that kind of stuff. But
Well,
in certain states, if you go to a gun show, you can buy the weapon right there at the gun show without even having a background check performed. And so I know in some states were trying to stop that, but they have
Right.
not made it a national law, because the NRA has a lot of people on Capitol Hill. In fact, you remember the girl Green, she's on Capitol Hill packing with her weapon.
Right. That's right. That's right. And that's why I'm trying to figure out, how do these people get these guns? Just like the guy, if I'm not mistaken, the guy that just shot somebody. I'm trying to think, where was it at? But he just
At the FedEx.
Yes.
FedEx.
Yes. At the FedEx. And his mother was saying she was already concerned about him because she had problems out him before.
Well, the police the year before had a situation with him, and they took one of his guns. Now, I don't know if that was the only one he had at the time, but they took a gun that he had. So all he
But
did
that's
was
what I'm saying.
got another one.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody said that he went and purchased another gun about 2 or 3 months ago. So what I'm saying is they took one gun. But then they allowed him to go get another gun.
If they don't have the laws in place, number one, to prevent people from passing the background check or to have a flag. See, then there are certain states, I forget what the law is called, with something like a concern law, citizen law, where if you have a family member or somebody that you know that you have some concerns about them, you can call the police department, especially if you know that they have weapon or access to weapons. You can call and report it to the police department, and they will investigate and see whether or not the weapons need to be confiscated. But that is not nationally. That's not a national law.
Right.
That's only
and not only that, but see, not only that, if it's a colored man, oh yeah, they would check him out quick. But if it's a white man, they ain't gonna check him out. They're not concerned about the white man buying guns.
And we're not even talking about the illegal gun trafficking. We're just talking about what's happening legally.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now you heard about the military officer, the lieutenant, coming through, I believe it's Wakefield, Virginia, somewhere in there.
Tell me about that.
And the police pulls him over. They put a light on him, but he's in a dark area. He did woods and everything, so he didn't pull over until he got to a gas station that's lit up. And when he got to the gas station that was lit up, the police pulled the guns out on him and told him to get out. He asked the officer, "What's going on? What's happening? What did I do wrong?" And they kept telling him, "Get out." And he kept saying, "What's wrong? What did I do?" And he kept holding his hands out the window so they wouldn't shoot him. And the guy said, "Take your seatbelt off." He said, "I don't want to move my hand, because if I move my hand, you might shoot me thinking I'm grabbing a gun." And this guy's in a uniform. He's in a army uniform. And here these guys pulled the guns out on him, taking him because of tag. Once again, they're looking at his tags on his vehicle. I believe he had a Chevy Suburban. And they pulling him over because he has the sticker in the window, but his tag on his car. Up in Pennsylvania, when you get a new car, you get a sticker in the back of your window and you get a tag on your vehicle. And they claimed that the vehicle was stolen and everything. The tags was false, but he had a sticker in the window proving it, that this is his car. It's unbelievable the way these white police are thinking. And yet they pull him over, pull the gun out on him, and he said he couldn't move, but he kept his hands out the window so they wouldn't think he's trying to grab for a gun if he unbuckled the seatbelt. Then while he's got his hands out the window, while he's still buckled up, they spray pepper spray in his eyes. This is a lieutenant in the military, and they treating him like this. I mean, it's just unreal. I mean, right away, I think the mayor of that city or county fired the 2 police. But like they said, he get fired here, he'll go 10 miles down the road and sign up for another police job with another county. I mean, it's something, man. It's just.
Well, these are the types of things that we have to push our legislative leaders to make changes, and the changes cannot just be local, county, and city and state changes. They have to be national changes. Yes. They have to be across the board. In fact, talking about, that's one of the items that's pending, so that police can be decertified.
Right.
If you are found guilty for being in violation or something wrong, then you can be decertified, which will prevent you from being hired at another police department.
Yes.
See, all of these, but then you've got people on Capitol Hill that are fighting against that.
Yes.
You know, they're fighting against that. They're fighting against the officers' Bill of Rights and the qualified immunity. I mean, how many jobs can you find where you can be employed and do anything you want that's wrong and be immune from any repercussions? I mean, that just that goes in giving them the wrong mindset. The other thing is that we have to deal with is these police unions. Most of the legal fees that these police officers incur as a result of their wrongdoing, those legal fees are paid, most of it, by the unions. So there's very little out-of-pocket costs to these officers. So they don't really have no incentive to do the right thing. They don't really have any moral conscience. It's sad, Dr. Davis. It's sad.
And
we on the Hill that got their heads stuck in the sand or up somebody else's hind parts where they do not want to make changes because, listen, anytime, anytime, and I know you're going to laugh at this, anytime a conservative, a far conservative white evangelical national person, Pat Robertson, come out on TV and say something's wrong.
Is that what he said?
Come out and say something's wrong after all these years. What you think about that?
Well, I guess it's better to wake up now than never. Because all these years that this mess been going on, all these years, now he's saying there's something wrong. So I guess it's better to wake up now than never, I guess. I don't know.
Well, all I know is something has to be done.
So the best thing, I guess, or the only thing I know that we really can do is to call our representatives, our congressmen, senators, you know, and voice our opinions to them. Hopefully they will make a change and try to do something that will help the nation as a whole, because this, like I say, it's just crazy the way things are going on. And I don't know, boy. I'm really lost for words because I don't know about these people. And I'm glad you have to hit the pause button, because I'm just saying right now, we excited about what happened, but that's just one battle. Out of all these battles we've been fighting, just one.
Just one, Dr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Just one. I pulled up that clip. Let me see if I can share it. I mean, it's not funny.
Right.
It's not funny. Here is the clip.
All right.
It says evangelical leader Pat Robertson
Right.
gave a damning critique of American police for an onslaught of violence against Black Americans, blaming a low-paid force consisting of not the best and the brightest. Now, that's what he said. He said,
right.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. And he has been a police supporter for years. I was trying to see if I could find some more about the story. But he's, he says Pat Robertson surprises everyone and hits out at police over shooting of Daunte Wright and the death of George Floyd. Dr. Davis, we just somewhere along the line, we have got to hit the pause button. And I know a lot of people were excited about the verdict. A lot of people. I'm happy that it turned out the way it did.
Me too.
But I'm not overly impressed.
Not yet. Not yet.
We have too many other cases that are pending. I'm glad to see that the Attorney General has now opened up some cases, or they're doing some investigation of some cases that had gone unchecked under the previous administration. In fact, they're saying that Minnesota, the police department in Minnesota, has the highest number of police shootings.
Gosh.
And so their department is being reviewed right now through a special task force to see if they can find out what the problem is as it relates to why their state is so high in these situations.
Well, I think it's the training. I really do. If you have that many in Minnesota, I'm thinking it's got to be the training. Because once again, the young lady who shot Dante Wright, who was on training another person, and she pulls out her gun thinking it's a taser and shoots the young man, and she's training somebody. It's got to be the training.
Well, I'm not convinced that it's the training. And the reason that I'm saying that is because during the trial of Chavez, the police chief said that what was being done or what had been done was not part of the police department's training. Several of the trainers that they had from the academy that they had on the stand, all of them said what had been done was not a part of the police department's training. What I believe is many of these persons that are applying and getting these jobs are people that are part of, either directly or indirectly, of white supremacist groups or conspiracy theory groups. It is proven fact. It's proven fact. I was talking to a certain officer a few months back, and he told me that there was an officer that had just graduated from the academy, and the person was a known Ku Klux Klan member, and that there was nothing that they could do to prevent him from being hired. Listen, they have infiltrated, just like they found out during January, during the insurrection. They have infiltrated the military.
Yeah.
They have infiltrated the police departments. They have infiltrated the FBI. That's why they did a sweep, a background sweep after the insurrection of all of the military people that was there. In fact, and some of them they sent back because they found stuff in their background. Now,
Yes,
I don't know if you heard this though, but you and I was talking about this some time ago. It came out yesterday. It came out yesterday that the Capitol Police officers were told to ignore the protesters that were protesting for Trump, but to give special attention to the anti-Trump protesters. Remember, I said before, I want to know who gave the order to stand down.
Right.
I asked that question right after the insurrection happened. I said, I'm waiting to hear who gave the order for the Capitol Police to stand down. And then I heard yesterday in a report, the news report that came out that said that the Capitol Police were given instructions to ignore, which is another way of saying stand down, ignore the protesters, the Trump rally protesters. But they were told to give attention to anti-Trump protesters. So anybody that was there protesting against the insurrectionists, they were supposed to arrest them, but not arrest the insurrectionists. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely, brother.
And there's going to be some more stuff that's going to come out. Listen, these kind of things do not just happen just like that.
Right. You're right.
Not only did they not disseminate information in a timely manner, they disregarded it. They didn't forward it to the appropriate people at the right time. They didn't request backup assistance in an early enough time frame. They did not be prepared. They did not have enough people present. All of those things add up to some shady business going on.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, even the chief, the Capitol Police chief, resigned right away. He resigned right away. Come on now.
Yeah.
To me, that was a sign of guilt.
Yeah.
That was a sign of guilt. And here's the thing. If they resign before an investigation and they have enough time in, they can get their pension.
Right.
If they wait till an investigation happens and they found to have done something wrong and they get fired, they lose their pension.
Right. Right.
And what's happening in these police departments?
Right.
The woman that shot Daunte Wright resigned.
Right.
She resigned.
So she get her full pension.
Huh?
So she's going to get her full pension.
From my understanding. But then I also heard that the mayor did not accept her resignation.
Wow.
That's what I heard. Wow. They did not accept her because here's the thing. Again, if they resign before they're fired, then they, especially if they got the time in, they keep the pension.
Right.
They keep the pension.
Right.
So there's a lot that we have to look at. There's a lot we have to be mindful of. We cannot find ourselves asleep at the wheel. We cannot find ourselves just ignoring what's going on. And when you really think about it, that leads us right into something that I need to share. Starting the first Saturday in May, I have been asked, along with another person, to be a teacher for the Kingdom Agenda. The Kingdom Agenda, that is by Tony Evans. Here is the flyer. It starts Saturday, May the 1st, 2021, and will run through June the 12th. It's for an hour and a half each Saturday. It's for 7 weeks. It starts at 10 a.m. and runs through till 11:30 a.m. The host for this event is Ralph and Desiree Burley. Both of them have been a part of our Saturday morning prayer line ministry that we have been having for over 5 years now, going on 6 years, where we have not missed a Saturday morning where we have prayer at 6 a.m. on our conference call. And so if you would like to be a part of this Kingdom Agenda study, it is free. Well, the study is free. However, you will need to get the workbook. And the workbook I believe is approximately $20. There is information on the screen. I've got it up on the screen. Information you can contact the Burleys. The phone number is there. I'll keep losing it. The phone number is there. Or if you need more information, you can contact me or contact them. The number is 410-302-0838 is for Brother Ralph Burley or his wife, Sister Desiree Burley. Her number is 410-302-0898. If you are interested, or you can reach out to me for more information, and I will certainly get that information to you. You can email me, and we will send you the flyer. The first week, on the 1st of May, will be an introduction, and then following that will be the next session. So we encourage you, again, it's free. It's free. So Dr. Davis, if you have any of your parishioners that you think might be interested, certainly they are welcome to be a part of it, or if you yourself would like to be a part of it. We're going straight out of the materials, the workbook, and everything from Dr. Tony Evans. However, whenever I do teachings, I always put my own spin on what it is. So myself, along with Sister McIntosh, will be the facilitators for the study. And so even if persons are considering it, or you just want to get an idea, I encourage you to join us on the first Saturday, where it will be an introduction of what you can expect, where the outline will be laid out and all of that kind of stuff. Questions will be taken, and we'll talk and discuss what we can expect to see. All of that is coming. And when you really think about it, Dr. Davis, this is all a part of the kingdom agenda.
Right.
Things that we're seeing today happening, this is all a part of the kingdom agenda. What God says we need to look forward to, how to deal with it, how to handle it, what to see. These things we should not be surprised about.
Right.
We get too surprised about some things. We don't need to be surprised about some of these things.
That's right.
These things are right in the scriptures.
Yep.
And if we only take the time to read, to research, to study, to apply ourselves, we will not be caught unaware or with our guards down. We will not be so overly surprised by what we see and hear, because these things are in the scriptures.
Yes.
Well, Davis, any final words?
Well, once again, just keep praying that things will hopefully get better, that we can hopefully breathe a little and what have you. But I just, once again, just ask everybody to stay in prayer, and because we know prayer works, and we won one battle, but we have a whole war to win. So just continue to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know your labor is not in vain. Be encouraged.
All right. Well said, Dr. Davis. Well, to our viewing audience, thank you so much for participating and watching and sharing. Certainly, we invite you to reach out to us at our email addresses there on the screen. Yes, let's talk about it, the number 1@gmail.com. That's yes, let's talk about it, the number 1@gmail.com. All right. Well, you had it. We've heard it. And we look forward to sharing with you on another edition of Let's Talk About It. Until next time, you have a great day.